I know there's so many different like diet plans and fads out there. I see that you speak a lot about ketogenic diets. Now, it's a battle with me as well because I've had people come. So, because I specifically with cancer, so I get a lot, not a lot, but a few people who come and say, we want to get on a nutrition program, but you know, my wife is battling breast cancer and you please put on a ketogenic diet because I've done the research. And we always step away and say, listen, it doesn't work that way. You know, it's not, ketogenic is not something that is as frivolous as people are thinking today. I know so many people who get on the ketogenic diets to lose weight because they think that, okay, wow, I'll lose a lot of weight. They eat a lot of meat. They think it's a high protein diet. So can you quickly tell us what exactly is the ketogenic diet and like, you know, the misconceptions about ketosis and ketogenic diet?
Yeah. So ketogenic, actually, the reason I even got so involved in it is because it is a concept that is arised from sports science, which is the science where I find that everything trickles down from sports science when you're talking about human health and fitness, because sports scientists are working with human beings at their elitist level, and your job is to make sure their body is functioning at elite. So you don't have any room to go wrong. You're being paid to keep that machine functioning perfectly. So what happened is that in sports science, there was always a misconception that when you exercise, you're moving a lot, you need carbohydrates to refuel, and most athletes follow that. And like I told you earlier, that eventually that led to everybody's metabolism snapping. One after the other, athletes, coaches, lots of current athletes were dropping dead from heart disease because of imbalances in the inflammation caused from an excess of carbs, the developing type 2 diabetes. So the sports science revisited it. And they said, something's wrong here. We're working out all day long. Why is our metabolism snapping? They realized that it is because you live in a carbohydrate-based world. You're burning carbohydrates and sugar as a source of fuel, right? At that point, sports science did a flip. There's a lot of research out there that what is the other source of fuel that we can burn that isn't going to harm us as much, and you turn to fats because your body has a storage of fats. It's a source of fuel. You can burn that as fuel. When you are burning fats as a source of fuel, you are in a state of ketosis, right? The alternate is burning sugar as a fuel, and you're basically breaking down glycogen and glucose, and that would probably be glucosis, that you're living in that world. Now, ketosis is only a state that's saying that you are primarily using fat as your fuel. That's all it is. It's just a state of which fuel your body is using as its primary fuel. To get into ketosis, there is one law. Ketosis happens when your insulin levels are below a certain level.
Okay.
Right? That is the only rule. Now, I can keep insulin low by doing many, many, many different things, right? How do you keep insulin low? I can completely starve you. You will have no food, you will have no insulin. Insulin low, you're in ketosis. I can give you only water to drink for 3 days. No insulin, super low. That's it. You get into ketosis. I can give you only fats, right? So I can give you cheese, I can give you meat, I can give you, because fats do not spike insulin. So by keeping, to keep insulin low, I can give you no carbs. I can give you just coconut oil. I can give you ghee. I can give you butter. I can give you meat. I can give you cheese, right? And these could come from any sources. Your insulin will be low and you will get into a state of ketosis. Okay, yeah. But are you getting any nutrition into your body? The answer is no. So the balance and the challenge to stay in ketosis, which is the ideal preferred way your body has to run, but to stay in ketosis so smartly that you're keeping your insulin low, you're allowed some carbohydrate, you're allowed something to make that allowance nutrition filled, right? So in the 10 or 20 grams of carbohydrate that I'm going to allow myself, what are the sources of those carbohydrates that I'm going to feed myself to still stay in ketosis, but also get my nutrition? So when people do ketosis, they forget about the fact that you still need nutrition.
Yeah.
You can switch the carb fat thing. Now I think people have figured out how to do that. You increase your fats, you reduce your carbs. Technically for ketosis, you don't need to increase fat. You just need to reduce carb to be under a certain insulin level. The reason we increase fat is because those calories that you remove from carbs have to come from somewhere. You need calories. It's safer and cleaner to have those calories coming from fat than from carbs. You're still getting your nutrition from carbs and your calories from fat.
Okay, yeah.
You know, does that make sense? So,
but it can, sorry, so can But are people kind of making that replacement with protein instead? And that's why there's this misconception saying that, okay, then it's a high protein fat diet, because it's not a high protein diet, right?
Your body basically, so what we try and do with ketosis is we tell your body, look, there's an ocean, okay? There's an ocean of energy that you can use, and these are your fats, right? Now we also have this much of emergency energy that you can use. There's water there, there's water here, right? To use that, I have an ocean in front of me. So to use that water for energy, you need to filter it, right? It's ocean water, and you have to do some work. We have to build the systems for it to work. But this is your filtered water, and you have this much emergency. If you're really thirsty, you're on your way out, you can just have a little bit of this. Now we want, and the body's just gotten so used to having this, it just refills this, it just buys bottles of water, and it's like, I'm just going to have this. Why should I filter the ocean water? It's too much work. You know, I've never done it since I've been born. I don't need to go there. It's an emergency and I don't need to use it. So the machinery for using that ocean water as a fuel is rusted. It's never been used. So, you know, the body, if it's not using something, it stops making the proteins and stops making the enzymes because it doesn't need it. So we have a very, very efficient system to process this water. This is your glucose, your sugar as fuel. So what we do in ketosis, now we need to tell the body, look, I'm not giving you this anymore. You have to figure that out, right? You have another source of fuel. It's ocean water. You need to build the systems to use it. But the minute I fill this up, my body is going to be like, oh, there's already water here. Why should I do the work? Why should I go into the ocean and filter it and, you know, and go through that process? So what we do in ketosis is this. We first cut out the carbs. We say, look, we're taking this away from you now. We'll give you just enough if you need to just stay hydrated or whatever. So I'm giving you like 20%. You need to keep this water bottle at 20%. That's your carbs in your system. Only when it reaches a critical low, does insulin reach that critical low, does the switch flip and you start now to use ocean water because it's your only option. You're not taking water from anywhere else. So we try and take your body from a dependency on carbohydrate to use ocean water, which is your fat source, which is unlimited. And once you start using that, you have your own internal energy and you can keep using that to burn. Why do we increase the number of fats in the beginning? I do it as a behavioral change mechanism. When you take away carbs from people, they get really cranky. They can go into a depression. Their body's fighting an addiction. It's like a cocaine addiction. You're trying to take away something. And in a lot of the centers where it's interesting, where there is cocaine addiction, how do they treat it? By giving you cigarettes. And they're giving you something else to get rid of that craving. You know, you can never just take away everything and the body's just going to be like, okay, I'm going to be fine. That's what dealing with an addiction is. It's a very delicate science and you cannot tell people, look, just stop doing it. Like, just stop having it. Just manage without it. That's not a science that works. People snap and they go back into it even worse because their body's craving the sugar. So what I do is when I do tell them to remove the amount of sugar, I give them a lot of fat to eat in the beginning. Why I do that is because using this example, I'm taking away your main source of fuel, but I'm giving you externally a lot of ocean water. Anyways, I'm just dousing your body in it and saying, look, we have this new thing. Learn how to play with this.
Yeah.
And it's delicious. It's tasty. When you're looking at cheese, you're looking at ghee, you're looking at avocado, you're looking at good quality meat. So that dependency on carbohydrates becomes easier to wean off. Your body then learns how to switch on the machinery for burning fats by giving the food as a fat source. Then it unlocks that magical ocean of energy, which is your unlimited source of fats. And now it can keep using that for lifelong. Then you don't need a really high fat diet. Then you just need a low carb, high fat. Once you're done with ketosis, which is switching from carb dependency to a fat ability, now you have both. You can still use the carbs, you can still use the fats. Your body knows very well how to use the fats as a source of energy. That is the only purpose of ketosis, is to take you to that point where you are able to now get both your machines working properly.
But I'm sure a lot of people, when you make that switch, have this fear of putting on weight. So basically, weight is coming from sugar then. It's not fat.
So you cannot put on, so weight is basically muscle, what your muscles, bones, your body water, and there are fat cells.
Yeah.
People keep looking at it as weight, but what is weight? The weight you want to lose is your fat.
Yeah.
The only way you're going to lose your fat is if you start using it as energy, right? I can lose weight. So all the people who offer fad diets in 1 week lose this much weight, and you can burn, lose all of this in 2 weeks magically. It's humanly not possible unless I take that body, cut it, and pull out the fat cells.
Yeah.
Because I want to lose the fat.
Yeah.
Now I do not gain fat in 2 weeks. I don't gain fat. I can gain weight in 2 weeks. So there's a massive difference between weight gain and fat gain, weight loss and fat loss. We're looking at two different things. So if I basically cut out my carbs the first week, so I was just working with a client yesterday, 1 week she got onto this program, she called me a week later, she's like, I've lost 5 kilos, this is amazing, I'm feeling great. I was like, you have just lost water. That's it. What has happened is when you stop eating carbs, basically what are carbs? They are glycogen stored in your muscle. Glycogen is glucose plus water. Okay, that's what we all studied in school, and that's a little bit I remember from how they taught it in school. When you lose, now you're ditching the glucose. You're trying to empty this, right? This system which is stored in your muscles and in your liver. You're kind of reducing what's already stored so you can teach the body to go into backup. When you lose glucose, water goes with it because that's how glycogen is stored in the body. It's glucose plus water. So there's like a little framework of glucose that holds water.
Right.
You lose all the water in the muscles and you lose the glucose in the first 24 to 48 hours or so. That's your body saying, okay, let me get rid of all the immediate energy. You burn it, you use it, and you shrink immediately because that's all the energy that is just stored for immediate use.
Yeah.
At 3 or 4 or 5 kilos is not fat. Only after that, once you've lost that initial energy, and it's not possible for your body to tap into your fat stores if there is energy in the immediate energy reserve. Why would it do that?
Yeah.
Not possible. It'll keep using the immediate energy reserve. You lose weight, you'll eat, you'll gain weight, you lose weight, you'll eat, you'll gain weight. You'll be here, which is what most people are in. And on an extreme day when you work out too much, you'll go a little bit here. You'll burn a little bit of fat. That's extra from this. You'll eat and you'll fill this up and you'll be back into sugar world. You'll never touch your fat stores.
Yeah.
So the point is that as and when you eat, so the only way to burn fat is to flip that switch inside your body that switches on burning your own fat as a fuel. You cannot do that if you have insulin in your blood. Insulin in your body is telling your fat cells stay locked. It basically locks the fat cells. It takes a lock and key mechanism and it shuts the fat cell and says, do not release fat right now. We have extra energy around. So anyone who offers an alternative to fat burning, like I just don't understand. There is no scientific basis for your body opening up the fat cells and releasing the fat unless you're in a state of ketosis. To get into that state of ketosis, there are multiple ways to do it. The fat you eat does not become the fat that sits on your body. What determines whether you are getting fat or not getting fat is what state your body is in. Is it in fat storing or is it in fat burning?
Right. Okay.
What determines what state it's in is what you are eating. Because what you are eating is telling your body about the environment. It's telling your body there's a lot of energy around, there's low energy around. Therefore, I have to react this way.
That's so interesting. Yeah.
And people don't really break it down. Like I have so many people who are still pitching, in 1 week you can do this and in 2 weeks. In fact, there is an example that I did speak about recently at this talk as well. If you look at diabetes, there was a patient, I remember I was telling you about this in the other talk.
Yeah.
There are patients who have diabetes, who have heart disease, who have the whole syndrome X, basically the snapping of metabolism, high blood pressure. When you change their diet, you remove the carbs and you just put good fats in. Within 3 days, that's 72 hours, Samara, you can see a change in their physiology. And within 3 months, there is actually evidence out there. It's scientific evidence. It's tried and tested. You can reverse diabetes. You can reverse all these issues because you are stopping. You're not feeding the problem. You first stop giving it. Again, I'm going to give you the cocaine addict example because it's exactly the same thing physiologically. It's the same thing. You have a person who's addicted to drugs. Say cocaine, for example. First thing you need to do is stop giving that person cocaine.
Yeah.
Right? What you replace it with, do you want to replace it with cigarettes? Do you want to replace it with water? Do you want to replace it with therapy, with human connection, whatever? But the first thing is stop giving that. So when you remove that, that's the only way that you can start the healing of the body. And for this particular case, it's sugar and carbohydrates. When you remove that, and then how you replace it very tactfully is where the nutritional science comes in. that will decide whether you're going to be successful in your healing or not.